We picked up anchor at around 3:15 this morning. We wanted to make sure we arrived in Lake Worth during the day, and you never know what you will encounter crossing the Gulf Stream. So we played it a little more conservatively than we needed to, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. We are about 6 miles off of the Gulf Stream. We're going to enter it here at this waypoint right there. And we are currently doing 6.3 knots speed over ground, so with pretty much no wind. So it'll be interesting to see how many extra knots we get with the Gulf Stream. Off to the left, you can see the Carnival cruise ship. We've got a lot of squall action around us. Not really a way to avoid it at this point. We're just going to have to go through it and hope for the best. Maybe it'll dissipate. But as the sun comes up, I'm getting to see how dark the clouds are and the rain that's falling even just to our east. And the squalls are carrying their own system of wind and strength. And there we go, we're head to wind, 20 knots. So we have slowed down significantly. Hopefully we'll get through this quickly. We are through the bad squall, which is great. So in another mile and a half, we'll be in the Gulf Stream. This is where the Gulf Stream starts, approximately. So once we get there, we'll add about 2.5 knots to our speed. Where you going, babe?
We're gonna go take down the Bahamas flag.
Oh.
There's not much of it left.
No, there isn't much of it left at all, is there?
It's up there.
It's pretty much about a third of what it was.
Oh, the winds were rough this winter in the Bahamas.
Oh, it's so exciting. We're headed into Palm Beach right now. We loved our time in Palm Beach, and especially getting to see our friend Jeff. A huge thanks to him for managing the mountains of Amazon packages that he accepted and allowing us to borrow his car whenever we needed it. We would have loved to have stayed longer, but the start of hurricane season was around the corner, and we needed to move south very quickly. So after 3 weeks in Palm Beach, we said goodbye and set our sails for Miami. It was so good to have new GoPro cameras in hand. The forecast for the morning was blue skies and fair winds with building thunderstorms in the afternoon, and that held true, stopping us in our tracks near Fort Lauderdale. Wow, it got ugly really fast. We're trying to figure out what to do, where to get some protection. Not sure. 35 knots of wind, no protection, not good. Thankfully, we're heading into Lake Mabel right now, getting out of this huge system, and this looks big enough to be able to handle our boat and everyone else's, and so far it's not a bad entry, so thankfully we're okay. The U.S. Coast Guard allowed us to stay in the active channel until the storm threat passed. Then they asked us to move. Since it was so late, we decided to drop anchor on the ICW, but the nearest anchorage was a couple of miles north through 2 bridges, the 17th Street and Las Olas. They very graciously opened the bridge to us. We're really thankful for that. We're a little bit late on the opening, and we're the only boat going through, so very kind of them to have the bridge open. Now we're headed to an anchorage for the night. Well, I'm glad we didn't do this any later. We're hoping the second bridge will open for us. The ICW is beautiful and fun for us to finally see. Since our mast is too tall for most parts of it, we had never traveled on it before. And given the storm we dodged, we were very happy to have a place to drop the anchor for the night. We are off and out of the anchorage. That went really well. It's a beautiful day here so far. Beautiful anchorage in general. We are waiting for the bridge in front of us to open at 6:15, and then we'll head through it, and then we've got to hightail it to the second bridge and hope we make that before 6:30. We are on our way then out into the ocean. Today we're going to pick up Paul. He's a friend of ours. He's going to crew with us to Guatemala, and we're going to pick him up in Miami today, so it's like Christmas morning for us. The final turn to the ocean. Almost 2 years ago, we were staying in Miami Beach, watching a leopard in the same position we're in pass by, saying, "That'll be us." Never really believing it was gonna happen, but here we are, passing Miami Beach in a leopard. Very, very cool. It's a beautiful day on the water today. Seas are flat. Not much wind, but enough to have both of the sails up. We thankfully missed that squall over there. That looks like a pretty nasty one. Very exciting. We're coming in to Key Biscayne here, picking up our friend Paul. Got it?
Okay, come on. You're good. You are clear.
Yeah, baby, now that's
how you do it.
That's how you do it. I can't believe you're here. Welcome. Getting Paul really boosted our spirits, as I was still recovering from a bad case of COVID and Brown was exhausted from provisioning the boat all on his own. It was a lot of work. We decided to knock off a few more miles that day by motoring down to Elliott Key. Alright, it is morning. We are off. Paul's at the helm. Loving that.
The channel's well marked.
We are headed through a cut. The cut is straight ahead. Last night was a quiet night except for mosquitoes. We're pretty shallow this morning. It's about 5.5 feet, so we've got a foot of clearance underneath the keel. And today we're headed to Tavernier to pick up some supplies for the orphanage in Guatemala, and then from there we're headed to Key West to hunker down for the storm.
Oh, what a beautiful morning we have here. And we are coming up on Caesar Cut, which is at the south end of Elliott Island. And we have Paul at the helm. Man, first time I've given up the helm in a long time. It feels good. He's taking us through the cut.
My happy place.
Happy place. We'll tell you all about Paul here in a little bit, but he is there so that I could really work with Eileen, who's been doing all the anchoring for such a long time. And I've kind of forgotten how to do it. So she's been refreshing my skills. Maybe the next time I'll do it and practice while she watches. And then Paul will be able to come up here and I'll be able to work with the Admiral on her helm skills so that if something happens to me, she feels really comfortable at the helm. And then we have Eileen right here. She's getting over her cocoa. And
Yep.
there's supposed to be some pretty serious squalls this morning. What do you say to that?
Yeah, hogwash.
5 now, up 4-9.
Uh-oh. We are going through Snake River Bridge, and the reason we're going through is because we're going to get protection from the oncoming storm in a couple of days. We are getting protection here because we are just not sure of insurance for Guatemala. We got a bit of a shocker today when we went to sign our insurance for Guatemala and they said they can't cover us. They're not writing policies for Rio Dulce anymore. Nicely done. Wow, it's so bizarre. 2 years ago, we were here with our friends Ted and Gail, learning how to sail. That was our first trip out on the water, and now we're back. Amazing. So we've got a big blow coming on Friday, so we're gonna sit it out in here, just outside Venetian shores. And we are going to then make some decisions as to what we're doing for hurricane season. If we can find new insurance, we'll head to Guatemala. If we can't, we'll head north, I think. So time will tell what we do. But imagine the shock, our shock and surprise when we thought we had our insurance sewed up and we didn't. So we were told don't start it before May 15 for June 15, and the reality is I would suggest starting insurance at least a couple of months before you want to change it, because we just got screwed at this late date. So start early, that's what we want to tell you. Right, so we are awaiting Alex's arrival. At the moment, just getting a little spitting going on here, not a whole lot of anything, but later on we're supposed to get 40-knot winds. Well, you're ruining us for our future guests, that's all I can say. You're setting a very, very high bar.
Yeah, I'm cleaning. Love it.
Brown's cooking, getting us ready for our trip to Guatemala. So we've got some food prepared, making some Indian food.
Am the Indian grandmother that you never had. Just think about that. And when you taste this Indian food, you'll get jet lag. It's so authentic.
There's Brown having to tie under duress. Let's see if he can tie a bowl in. Trying to collect water, so we have water to wash things with and do laundry. And the rain has really just started big time. And the winds. Uh-oh. He's having a hard time. Oh, he's getting it. Oh, is he getting it? Yeah, he's got it. I think he might have it. Oh yeah. Victory.
Oh man, that's shower central. I love it.
Well, we successfully made it through the night. It's a little windy this morning and we've got a boat that's sinking out here. Doesn't look like anyone's on it. After a couple of days of searching for an insurance company that would cover us in the Rio Dulce, we found Steve at Allied Financial Network, who was wonderful to work with. He was able to expedite the process, and before we picked up anchor, we had started our new policy. We're Guatemala bound again.